and welcome to Career Coaching Over Coffee. So, this is one of our live meetings that we have every month. We have two every month, Career Coaching Over Coffee, and we have a live Q&A session. And if you're part of our Job Search for $25 program or one of my Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidates, then you will receive these notifications and these emails of when these live calls take place. So if you're here, welcome. If you want to join in and if you want to ask me questions, then please go ahead, pop your questions in the chat or raise your hand and I will answer your questions. And today in Career Coaching Over Coffee, we usually look at some strategy, some tactics, some tips, a bit of training, a bit of information and a bit of strategy about how to land your job, especially as an international candidate, as a top skilled candidate from abroad, and the strategies that I work with in my Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidates program. I work with them one-on-one. And in the Job Search for $25 program, obviously, I teach these strategies. So I'll tell you a little bit about these programs as we go through the session and how to access them and how you can work with me. But today I'm going to focus on a strategy that we call the attraction strategy or the career influence strategy. And I'm quickly going to share my screen here and then I'm going to come back to full screen here. But please, if you're there and if you're joining me, let me know and raise your hand if you have any questions at any time and I'll check those questions from time to time. I'm just going to quickly share my screen here because I want to show you what we're going to be talking about today. And this document that we have on the screen, you should be able to see the screen in a second. This document that we have on the screen, this will also become a handout. So if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. If you're watching this after this live session, you haven't been able to join the live session, then you can find a link to this document below this video. And you will see that there are links in this document. Now, if you're part of my Job Search for $25 program or Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidates or some of the other programs that I do from time to time, then you'll be able to link through and to go through to these links. And these links take you straight into our training portal. So I'll show you what the training portal looks like so that you can actually see what's in there. So in our training portal, we have a number of courses. And if you are part of our Elite Career Mentor or one-on-one candidates, then you have access to these courses, depending on which level you are. You'll have access to some of these courses. And you can see there's a whole number of courses in here. Each of them contains different modules, and each module contains different lessons and different videos, different downloads, different templates, different cheat sheets. There's probably, I counted the other day, over 80 videos now in here, and there's numerous dozens of cheat sheets and downloads, etc. So if you want to be part of the Job Search for $25 program or the Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidate, then I'll tell you at the end of this video of how to become a part of that. Welcome. I saw Mike there joining. Welcome on the call, Mike. It's great to see you here again. I'm also going to tell you that in the last session, I actually spoke to Mike in a live session who landed his job in New Zealand. And that is where you can go and watch what he had to say about some of these strategies and these things that he's been um, able to implement and how it worked for him. So welcome, Mike, joining us on the live session here. What we are going to talk about again today is the influencer strategy, the attraction strategy. And Mike never actually got to this level of completely implementing that because he landed his job way before this. But this is one of those cool ones. Right, so let's start this off. Now, to start this off, I'm going to show you where this strategy fits into all of the others. Okay, all of the others, when I'm saying all of the others, it means how it fits into the other strategies that we can implement to land jobs without applying online. And then I'm going to tell you who this is for, how to implement it. There's actually a couple of stages that you've got to go through, what you need for it, what the prerequisites are, and the steps of how to implement it. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can get into this and let me help you do this. So again, sharing screen here. So you can see all the strategies. Now, when I run this, we'll take a look at the different strategies that are available for our top candidates and how they implement these strategies, what they're about, and how they do this without applying for jobs online. So, and this is going to be quick. What we want to achieve, if we want to land a job as an immigrant or an international candidate, you are you are competing at the highest level. Last night, I was working through a document set for someone that we are working with in a one-on-one capacity, and I'm thinking to myself, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm thinking, how can I make this candidate the best of the best, right? That's step number one. Step number two is, how can I get that candidate and their profile that is now the best of the best in front of their ideal employers? In other words, how can we achieve visibility? That is why we implement these strategies, is to achieve visibility. That's it. Visibility is currency. So when you have visibility across the world in front of your ideal employees, you cannot but get shoulder tapped. You cannot but be approached. You do not have to apply for jobs. You do not have to chase jobs. And we want to increase that visibility as much as we can. So let me just say this. If you apply for jobs online, you have one chance with that application. When it's over, you dead in the water. Nobody knows about you unless you do something else, because you just sent that one application to that one job ad. And with that, you only have 3% chance of getting through. So with every application, you have 3% chance and no further visibility or exposure. So you're dead in the water. This is what the little red arrows on the screen represent down at the bottom here. So over time, you literally stay invisible. You do not increase your visibility. What we instead do is other strategy. So online applications is a strategy. It's not one of my favorites. Do not I do not want to work with people doing that because it's not good return on investment. And I've seen this through the years. It's becoming more and more apparent. So we do something different. There is another one we call direct approaches. This is where Mike had his success. And in that previous video, I'll link the video for you down below as well. You can go and watch Mike talking about how he had his success just implementing direct approaches. This is where we go and find 100 or more ideal employers, and we get that profile that we built, that's now the best of the best, in front of them. And that strategy has proven to be 15 to 40% success. Now, most candidates that I work with, probably the vast majority of them, land their jobs this way, implementing direct approaches, even from a distance. They do not have to be in their destination country if they're international candidates. Even with locals, I do that too. And this is the best return on investment for the effort. Okay, so we have another one called relationship and networking. So this is where you find people inside those ideal employees and you start interacting and engaging with them. In other words, getting your profile now in front of hiring managers and people who make decisions inside those companies. And this is even more success. It's a little bit more complex than direct approaches, but it works a treat because you literally increase your visibility. And then comes the influencer strategy. This is what I'm going to talk about today. There is a whole course about the influencer strategy in the training portal where I give access to my job search for $25 program candidates and the Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidates. And I'll show you that course in a minute. But there's probably 2 hours of videos there where I go in deep about this strategy and how to implement it. And I talk about this and I update these things quite regularly. So this is where we literally become the person who attracts offers, who attract attention, who attract opportunities. You do not have to chase it. You get shoulder tapped, and you get shoulder tapped multiple times. Now, this thing, when it reaches this level, you will get this treatment, this attraction happening constantly in the future. So your profile starts working for you instead of you doing it. I use this strategy as a business strategy. I do not run ads. I do not do anything else but try and attract people to me because I know that if my message resonates with the candidates that I'm trying to reach, the right ones will come to me. And it is let me say it this way, it is not for the faint-hearted. This is why only a few candidates even reach this level and are able to reach this level. But once they do this, they become influencers. Right. So enough about this. Let's continue with talking about how do you implement this thing? Because um, it is one of those that everyone always wants to do because it has such success rate. The same success rate. You cannot go wrong. If you do this absolutely correctly, you cannot go wrong. I will show you some examples. Okay, so if you want to ask me questions through this or ask about the examples, what they've done, how they've done these things, please go ahead, but I'm going to show you some examples. Now, before we go into this, in terms of why and what I'm looking for before I start working with people with this is something we call the Career Influencer Success Code. This is where I measure whether someone is ready for this. Okay, this is where I check, is the strategy going to be working for them? And if you're going to be one of my candidates, if you're going to work with me, I'm not going to go there um, until I'm sure that you have all the things in place that will make it successful. And this is where I check it. This is how I check it. This is the code. This is the measurement behind it. Now, here you will recognize if you're one of my one-on-one candidates or one of my job search for $25 candidates, this is the framework, those three bubbles or three, the Venn diagram that we usually work through. This is it sort of unpacked. And when I want to work with someone in the influencer strategy, I first check whether they have reached the things and have done the things and makes them ready for this. In other words, targets, tools, and strategies. In targets, have they found their ideal employers? Are they in their occupation a specialist? Specialists get paid more than generalists, right? Have they got a specific niche? Are they going to be able to stand out? Are they a jack of all trades? Then they're generalists. That's not someone who is the best of the best. The best of the best is a specialist. And I'm checking, are they specialists? Now, all the blue on the screen represents, yes, I can work with this person. This person is at the level where they can implement the strategy. Have they got their job targets clear? Are they vague about which jobs they want to land? I often work with accountants, right? I'll give you an example. This is not about slanting accountants or anything. And this person has been an accountant and a really good accountant, and then they want to go, oh, it's too difficult and too hard to get a job as an accountant, so I'll just become a bookkeeper or I'll just become an accounting clerk. Like, no, you need to be clear about what you want to achieve here, and that's usually a level up, a step up. It's not a treasure, it's the best of the best. That's not down. Okay, you can be anything you can be and be the best at it, but it pushes you. I recall when I worked with Mike, I said to him, Mike wanted this. Mike was at consultant level internationally. Mike, I'm using your example here. I'm so sorry if I can't, but I'm going to do. And he wanted to come to New Zealand and take a step down into a technical role. And I'm like, no, you're a consultant. You're the best of the best. Be the best. And if you build a profile like that and you match the requirements that is asked for in that job market, why can you not be that best of the best? So you've got to be clear about who you want to be and then be the best of the best. And then do they have employer targets? Do they know their ideal employers? Do we know exactly who they're chasing here, who they're going to want to work for, who those employers are, what those employers require? Or are they clueless about this? They're just applying for jobs nilly-willy online. They don't know who they're targeting. That is clueless. So in terms of that first target, it needs to be specialist, clear, and targeted. And then we're going into the tools. Most people have a CV, and that's it. And I think they have a LinkedIn profile, but that's just an online CV. That's not enough to be the best of the best, to be an influencer, right? Kim Kardashian doesn't have one handbag. You can't be the best of the best if you have a mediocre CV. You can't put you and your skills and your value on a CV. It's impossible. So you've got to expand your toolbox here in terms of what you're going to use to showcase how you're the best of the best. And this is where we look at, yes, CV, cover, resume, cover letters and things, because at some stage, someone's going to ask for it, but you need to give them your pamphlet that portrays you as the best of the best with value. Not just a career history on a generic CV, a value optimized CV or resume that says, here is me, but here is what I do, and here is why I'm the best of the best. Here are the things that I've done, and here are the ways that I've excelled, and this is why I'm the best of the best. So for that, we lift ourselves out of everyone else who just has mediocre things, right? And that's where the star profile comes in, and that's where the 1%ers of people who do these. Mike didn't even get to the place of doing a resume video, but others do. And Mike has gone to the place of having so much value on his profile that you can just not ignore it. So, Mike, you will potentially going into the future as you expand your audience, you will start getting those shoulder taps coming because you will increase your visibility. But value and being that standout candidate, being the most visible, that is what I'm looking for. When I look at 15 or 12 or 15 or 18 LinkedIn profiles comparing that candidate, I want to go, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one, regardless of a CV from an employer standpoint. Okay, so it is about the tools that needs to be better. Then we're going to look at the strategies. Right, have they done proactive direct approaches? Have they reached 100 employers with the talent pool? Have they connected to at least 100 or 500 people inside the ideal employers? Are they visible to people who make decisions? And if they're not, they're isolated, right? If you are not proactively implementing direct approaches and you're reacting and you're applying for jobs online, which will bring you nowhere, like you saw in the previous slide. And if you want to implement the influencer strategy and reach that level, you're going to have to become the rock star. You can't be mediocre. You can't be hide behind online applications. So the blue boxes on this is what I am looking for. This is what I'm going to check before I will work with someone in the influencer strategy. Otherwise, it just simply won't work. There are prerequisites, and these are the prerequisites that we are talking about here. Now, talking about that strategy in terms of how we implement it and where we start, this is the prerequisites, right? These are the things that you need to have in place. And this is the foundation because this strategy creates visibility, and visibility is currency. Visibility is priceless, right? So to sum this up, you have to define that narrow niche. You have to become the most visible. You have to have that amount of exposure to employers. And you have to have that exposure to hiring managers, people, individuals. You need to know who they are. You need to know how to find them. You need to know how to get in front of them. You need to have them already looking at your profile. These are the prerequisites, right? You also need to know your niche. You need to have a message. You need to say, I am the specialist in this. And you need to have a platform. Now, LinkedIn is going to be your platform to be able to reach these people. So in the handout that I'm giving you, there's a link there, the Magic 100. And the Magic 100 is a course where I teach how to build that profile and how to build that network. So that is one of the prerequisites is you've got to have this network. But then comes the second part of it. And the second part of it is building a message which resonates with your network. Okay. This is extremely important. Mike and I talked about this the other day in terms of your message can't just be, oh, I think this is cool and I'm going to put it on my LinkedIn profile. No, your message has got to be, this is what my um this is what my audience wants. This is their need, and I'm speaking to it. I'm fulfilling a need, not just putting stuff out there that I think is cool. It's a complete 180-degree turnaround from what you put on your LinkedIn profile, the content, because the next step we're going to get to is the content. So if you have your niche in place, you have your audience in place, you have your value profile up, then you're going to have to start putting things on there to speak to the people who are looking at your profile. So in that building that foundation part is thinking about what do they want. And that is where you'll have to do some research about what they want. That is extremely important. And this is where most people miss the point. Even the lead career mentor one-on-one candidates that I work with, it takes them sometimes months to get this. I'm going to show you an example of someone who's actually done this, who got it, and how his profile just bloomed, exploded, went to the stratosphere in terms of exposure, because he literally found that point where the people who he wanted to get in front of and what he wanted to let them hear, the message. Now, here is where people go wrong. I'm just going to take a little bit of time to talk about this. You've got a huge audience. You've got a real good value profile of a lot of stuff on your profile that says, I'm good at this. I am the best person. I'm the best. You have a niche. You have a specialist. You are the specialist. But then you put irrelevant things on your profile. Remember, if you have an audience and you have an audience looking at your profile, you're like someone standing on a stage and you have an audience in front of you. Think about a rock star, a performer standing on a stage. Now, if you're a rock star and you suddenly start singing opera, you're going to walk out, right? They're not going to listen. They wouldn't want to hear about you anymore. That's irrelevance. So I have these candidates, or this is what they do. They have this incredible profile. They have this incredible audience that they've taken months to build, and then they put irrelevant things on their profile. And irrelevant things are things that doesn't have anything to do with the needs of your audience. Okay? Imagine if I started putting pictures of African animals on my profile. Who cares? They don't want to know about this. People come to my profile because they want to know how to land a job from a distance as an international candidate. That's what I need to talk to them about. So I've just checked a profile this morning, and it just really hit me in the face that the last 6 or 8 posts that this person has put up on their profile was about how difficult it is to find a job. Now, if I'm an employer, which is in the audience, looking at this person's profile, they look like a negative Nancy here. They look like a whinging willow here, you just complain. What the hell is it? That's not relevant to me as an employer who want to see the value of your work. You're displaying and demonstrating value. You're moaning and whinging and complaining the whole time. Everyone knows how difficult it is. Don't try and put a post up addressing how bad recruiters are. If you're looking for a job, employers see that. So relevance is exceptionally important. You could have used that real estate, that piece of of internet. You can say it like that way, and talking to your employees and demonstrating how good you are, what you do. So relevance is extremely important here. So speak to your audience and their wants, not just their needs, but their wants in terms of what they want to listen to, what they want to see. Use it. If I do it, I'm trying to think in my message the moment I'm writing or I'm doing a video, would this help anyone in my audience? Period. That's it. And if you think this post is going to help someone, is that someone the ideal employer or hiring manager? Because if you put up a post about moaning about how hard it is to find a job, you might have the right message for someone who's also looking for a job, but that's not an employer. Can you understand the messaging here? Okay, so in the course about the influencer strategy, I go through this in depth about what to say and how to say it and what to put up and how to actually find things and research how to create and craft your message. And this is where, if you miss the point here, you're missing the whole orbit. This can go wrong so big. So make sure you do the research of what they want and then go about and do this. Now, I want to talk about the audience here a bit, because this is the first thing you've got to do is creating the audience and then create the message or crafting your content. The audience is decision makers, is influencers. When I say influencers, it's people inside your ideal employers if you want a job who makes a decision and who's active on LinkedIn. That's why they are influencers. I call them influencers. Influencers mean that they are actually on LinkedIn. They're going to see your stuff. Otherwise, why would you put the stuff up if nobody sees it? So when you want to get someone into your network and your audience, go look at their profile and see if they're active before you load them up. Otherwise, you're going to speak to crickets, to a void, to nobody there. This is mistakes I made early on in my business. I connected with anyone and everyone and not having a directive in terms of who I was talking to and actually if they're hearing my message. I couldn't figure out for the love of me how to get in front of them in the first place and then who they are and what they wanted to hear, but also I didn't make sure that they're actually active, right? So, in every niche and every specialist niche, you will find people who are active on LinkedIn and not active on LinkedIn. Actually, in some niches, people are not on LinkedIn at all, right? They are on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. So, how can you get in front of them? So, find those decision makers and the place where they hang out. And if they go and hang out there, go there. It's not 100% of the time LinkedIn, but I'm talking to people here because I'm talking to candidates who usually are in niches and in occupations who are mostly on LinkedIn. So that's why I'm using LinkedIn here mostly to talk about. But there are instances where you're not going to find those people on LinkedIn. And that's okay. You've just got to figure out where they are and get in front of them. Now, when you put up this in front of your audience, imagine what they see, right? They see your value profile, they see your content. They to also answer this question, can I hire you? That is such a simple question. When I work with Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidates, they will not enter the Elite Career Mentor one-on-one program unless they are eligible if they're an international candidate. Eligibility means that you can enter that country that you have an eligibility assessment. I will not work with you unless you can show me that. That's not ethical. And I'm not going to put you under the expectation that you'll land a job abroad unless I know that you're eligible to enter that country. Employers think the same way. They want to know that you can enter that country. Last night, when I was preparing this and putting the final touches on these things, I looked at a couple of profiles, which is really standout profiles. And I'm thinking from the place of an employer, an overseas employer who sees this incredible candidate, right? Because your profile just looks so much better than everyone else. But nowhere on that profile does that candidate say, I'm actually eligible to enter your country if they want a job abroad. How would employers know? How would they know that you can? How would they know that you cannot be stopped at the border or, get through the border? There's a whole raft of things that you need to cover in terms of eligibility. So if you don't know what this is, here's an invitation for you. Hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a message and ask me about eligibility. And I'll send you to a whole big free resource about eligibility. Okay, just tell me you want it and I'll send you there. Also, if you want something, go to my website, elitecareermentor.com/immigration. There's a whole free resource there that puts you through the steps of how to get it done. But if I'm an employer, I want to know, can I hire you? Seriously, are you eligible to come here? That is one question you need to answer in your LinkedIn profile, in your exposure to employers. Okay. So targeting that right audience, you need to reach decision makers, the influencers, the people that you want to target. You need to tell them that that they can hire you. You need to then get them in your audience. How? You need to build connections with them in LinkedIn. In the Career Mentor program, I go through this with my candidates one-on-one. We sit down week after week and I kick their ass in terms of doing it. Some of them, just disappear into the mist and never come back because they don't have the guts to do this because this is hard. Um, and you want someone there by your side to tell you what to say, who to say it to, how to find these people in the first place, who to find, what to look for, how to connect with them, the message that you're sending, and then going on to interact and engage with them meaningfully. Meaningfully. This is the key. In that portal, the training portal, there's a whole training there about how to interact and engage with them. And I put the link in that download. So if you are part of our Job Search for $25 program, if you're part of the Elite Career Mentor one-on-one program, you will be able to hit that link and go straight into that portal and watch that training video of how to interact and engage with people. Okay. And who to find, how to find them, how to talk to them, to not get the door slammed in your face, and create a massive audience fast, very, very fast. This is how building that audience works. Okay, so now when you have the audience, we go on to the final part of putting your content in front of them. And like I said, relevance is so important. Relevance means, like I said, you talking to what they want to hear, you showing what they want to see. I can show you so many examples. And I'm going to show you some examples of relevance. I'm going to show you some examples of people who are doing this. So if you see my screen here, if you give me a second, I just need to find the button. I'm going to show you a couple. Your screen again. Goodness. Right. So we are sharing the screen here. So this profile, I hope you can see this, of Saram. This is a young man who I have so much admiration for. He literally, this training and made it into his niche. Okay, so targeting the things that I talk about in the code, and then became the specialist. He was really good at this, but then he positioned himself as the specialist. Okay, now if you think about his niche, Sarab is a specialist in AI and a data scientist in AI. Now, if you start talking about these things, my eyes glaze over. I do not even want to know. They're way too complex for me. I don't even get the concepts of this kind of stuff. But he makes it so simple. I am not a tech person. I'm not a data person. I'm not an IT person, but I can watch his trainings and his videos and I can read his blogs and it makes sense. Now, he obviously has a very specific audience that he speaks to, but he just simplifies that tech stuff. Now look at his profile. Literally, I'm eligible. Done. He's actually landed his position and he's looking for even more. Now, it's immediately clear that he's eligible, right? But if you go into his content that he puts out there consistently, it just is like he is AI. He is simplifying AI. Period. That's what he does. Simple. But he's such a specialist, such a um, he makes things so clear and so easily understandable that he speaks to what his audience wants. And he takes the message of AI and then tells employers how to do the stuff in their business. Okay? I don't know how to put it in other words, but literally he links it. He links what he does and how he does it with how it will work for an employer. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. So that is why he is so in demand. There's many other people. I'm going to show you some other examples too, but can you get the difference here of he doesn't talk about the African animals on his profile. He takes his specialization and tells employers how he can make their business better with it. That's it. All he does. And he's perfected that over time. He rose through direct approaches, networking. Can you see the engagement on his content? Right. This is the content that he writes. These are the things that he puts up. Now, this is complex stuff, right? But just look at the engagement on it. Just look at how people are engaged. This is his audience reacting to his message. You see how you build the value profile, build the audience, put the content out there, and you attract. And he's being shouldered. Okay, so this is his audience here listening to his message. Okay, enough about him. Martin is one that I have worked with years and years and years, way back in 2018, 2016, 18. I can't even remember when I just started the um, part of this business and work with people, started work with people one on one. I worked with him and he immigrated from South Africa to New Zealand. And he had the thing about applying for jobs online and nothing worked. And he is a mechanical, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but like I say, these things, these occupations. But what he did is started back then finding employers in his destination country wanted to come to New Zealand, reaching out to them. And then he learned how to put his his posts, his work in front of them. Now he's gotten several shoulder taps again and again since he's been here. He's been here, I think now more than 10 years, already 10, 8 or 10 years in New Zealand. Right. So he's got this ability to take things that he does and he just puts it on his LinkedIn profile, the work that he does as a mechanical fitter, as a person who he specializes in air compressors, I think. Okay, so the things that he does, he puts in front of employers, right? He literally takes his work and then takes pictures of it, takes videos of it, and puts it in front of employers. So again, employers can, he's got an audience, right? He went and he built an audience of these people that he wanted to target. Then he took the work and showed them what he does. He took photos of his work and put it on his LinkedIn profile. Okay. In that portal that that the training videos are in the Elite Career Mentor student portal where you can go through the courses. In this training, the influencer strategy training, there's a couple of long videos there and trainings. In here, I talk about JJ. JJ was a poultry or is a poultry farmer. Now, people say to me, "Oh, I can't do this because I'm this niche and I'm that niche, and you know, I'm in this occupation or that occupation, and this can't be done for that occupation." You can do it in any occupation. You can do this in any occupation. You can do an attraction strategy anywhere. Trust me, you can. I've had electricians do it. I've had accountants do it. I've had hospitality managers do it. I've had anyone do this. Right? You can do it. He was a poultry farm manager in South Africa, wanted to land a job in Australia. He did this. So in that portal, I go through exactly what he did back in 2018, 19. I think he left for Australia. He created an Excel spreadsheet of how to manage all the things in the poultry business um, back then. Okay. And then he put back then that spreadsheet on his profile and went and found these employers in Australia and then started showing them how he did it in his day-to-day work. And he got shoulder tap from around the world. He's a poultry farmer. He's probably the best of the best in the world. He got shoulder tap from around the world. He got shoulder tap from Australia, and that's where he went. And I use his example in that. Oh, so that's another person. So I can go on and on and on. I'll show you Elise. Elise's profile here. She has an incredible profile. She was a business services manager, executive officer in the police, and she has created how she uses her skills to do project management, to do certain things in police. Okay, so all these people have just built a value profile, built an audience, created content that resonates with the audience and put that in front of the audience and started getting their shoulder tap. Like, that's literally the simple way of showing this or saying this. But in 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 depth in this, your messaging needs to be right. Your audience needs to be right. Your content needs to fit. You need to be relevant. You can use different things in your content. You can use posts, you can use articles, you can use videos, you can use infographics, you can use surveys. The it's becoming easier and easier and easier to do these things. So if you want to know how to do this, that's what I do in the Elite Career Mentor. one-on-one program with my candidates, I literally show them which content to use. I literally show them how to build this audience. I literally show them how to work with these people. I literally show them how to craft their messaging, how to find the right message and dial it in, um, and how to get that in front of the right people. Okay, so if you want to work with me, how do we do this? Like I said, there are two ways I can work with you. The one, job search for $25 program. This is a program where I literally teach you how to do everything. Okay. And if you have my screen here again, and we're going to quickly look at that. If you want to go there, I will link these things for you below this video. Let me just share my screen and I will get to that. Now, the links for these programs, like I said, it's going to be below this video. But also remember that if you have questions about this, I know that you have questions about this, you can hit me up on LinkedIn. You just search my name on LinkedIn, you'll find me. Okay. I know that you're not just going to buy this thing because you don't know what it is and what it's about and how this all works and whether which one is right for you. So that's why I want to tell you a little bit about the two ways in which I can work with you, because I want you to understand which one is right for you. One is teaching you how to do this all by yourself. That is a job search for $25 program. It's literally $25 a month, and I will give you access to all of these programs in my student portal. You get access to all these things, all these 80s videos, and I add more and more. The library, the replay, like sessions like these where I go one-on-one. You get access to me twice a month to come on a live session like this and ask me questions. You get access to a community, to a group where all these other people are in. You can ask them questions. You can, someone is 10 steps ahead of you, and you might be able to ask questions from someone who's done this before, like Rob or Martin or Mike or any one of these people who've actually done this before. So that is the job search for $25 program. I'll put a link for you below this video. This is the page. You'll see a video from me. You'll see what's included, and you can straight get into this program. There's no prerequisites. You can enter it instantly. Okay. So that is one way. The other way is to work with me one-on-one. Now, by one-on-one, I mean intensive work. This is where I'm going to kick your butt. This is where I'm going to do things for you initially. I'm going to create or find your, not create, find your ideal employers first. I'm going to do the research. And what is your niche? What is your ideal occupation? What are the requirements for that occupation? Who are those employers? What do those employers want? Find your first lot of employees for you. Usually I found about, depending on the niche, 30, 50. Then I show you how to expand that list to 100 ideal employers in your destination country. If you're an immigrant, those employees need to be sponsors. I'll find the sponsors for you. Okay. So that's the first part. The second part, I will create your profile for you. Those value profiles that you saw me there, that you saw there, like Elise's one, etc., I created for you. Okay. I tell you what to put there. I create everything in that profile for you, and we get that profile up and running. And we do all of this work in about 3 weeks. Find your employers, find what they want, find your niche, define your requirements, create your profile that matches their requirements and the job requirements, and get that profile up and running. And then we sit with you one-on-one, week after week, after week after week, in implementing strategies like direct approaches, the networking relationship building strategy, and the influencer strategy that we just talked about today, until you land your job, no matter how long it takes. Now, there's different levels of engagement in that program. And the first thing, you can't just buy that program online. I'm not letting that happen, because I need to know who I'm going to be working with. And the first thing that you've got to do is come on a live call with me, on a one-on-one strategy session with me. And the reason I'm asking you to come on a strategy session with me is because I want to know if you are ready for a one-on-one program. Okay, so I'm not going to let you in until I know that you're ready. That strategy session costs $179 US. If you cannot afford $179 US, you cannot afford my Elite Career Mentor one-on-one membership. Period. That's it. You're not fit for it. Because if you are so constricted in your thinking in terms of that you cannot get something out of a strategy session that I will tell you exactly how we're going to do this, then you won't be able to do the work that is required in a one-on-one program. And Mike, if you're still here, I think you're testament of it. Mike has been week on week on week on week. It's been go, 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 and the results are there. Okay. Mike says yes. Don't know if you want to add anything to that, Mike. But this is not for the faint-hearted, right? This one-on-one program is work. It requires me to show up and you to show up. And if you don't want to show up, you're out. And I don't want to go halfway with people. I want to go all the way. I want the person to go to the point of landing their ideal job and their ideal destination, not fiddling around with technical nonsense. That's not what we're doing here. All these little bits need to fit into place, and that's the only way you're going to work with me one-on-one. I take 12 people a year in the one-on-one. There's 2 slots left for the rest of the year. 3 people are waiting for visa, so they might become available soon. But yeah, there's 2 left. So if you want the one-on-one, there will be a link below this video where you can first come with me on a strategy session. I'll have it up on the screen where the page that you will land. So on this page, you will see how to book that strategy session with me. Okay, so here is my calendar. You can go and pick a slot immediately and book that strategy session. It's $179. There is also a link here to a video where I go through how we will work once you enter the program, if you're suitable. But in the strategy session, before the strategy session, I'm asking you to send some things to me, to send some information, send your eligibility assessment, to send a whole lot of information. The form you've got to fill out, a whole lot of things that you've got to upload. When you do that, I analyze that information, and on the strategy session, I go through targets, tools, and strategies as it applies to your individual situation. I did that with Mike, I did that with everyone else. But on that strategy session, you actually walk away with this is my niche, this is my specialization. Here are the employees that are going to be potentially my ideal employees. This is what they're going to look like, what we need to focus on, what the target's going to be, how are we going to put together your profile, other profiles that were similar to yours, which of these different strategies are going to work the best for you, how are we going to start to implement it. And yes, on that strategy session, I had said to people, I'm not working with you because you're not ready. So this is the first step, it's the first gate you've got to get through is a strategy session. So on this page, you will be able to see what the session is about. You'll be able to book it right on the page. You'll go through here, pick a slot. You can choose your time zone. You can pick a slot. It costs $179. Come through to a strategy session with me. We'll sit down. We'll make up a strategy for you that you at least can walk away with if you want to do it by yourself. But if you then want to implement it with me in the one-on-one program, I will tell you about the one-on-one program on the session. Cool. Now, I hope you got some value today out of what is the influencer strategy. Okay. So again, I'm going to share this handout in a link below this video. This handout that's on the screen here. I'm going to share this in a link below this video. If you are part of my job search for $25 program, you will be able to click through this and land on the training portal, and you'll be able to watch the training videos. If you're if you're one-on-one program, you'll also be able to click through and go and watch these trainings. But like I said, one-on-one, I work through these one-on-one with people, but you'll get an idea of what's required in the strategy, the pieces that are required, build the foundation, the prerequisites, get the right audience in place, and then craft the right message with your content. And then there's also links if you want to work with me. The links to the job search for $25 is there, and how to work with me to that strategy session is there. I do not see any questions yet. Mike, do you have any questions now that you are here, or if anyone else wants to jump on at this stage? Are there any questions here? Let me know, and I will answer those questions. By the way, if you have any questions, if you're watching this on YouTube or after or somewhere else, you can put questions for me in the comments below, or you can actually go and put questions in LinkedIn. Hit me up on LinkedIn. I answer all my LinkedIn messages every single day. I sit there and I go through the meaningful messages, and I answer them every single day. I go through every single one and I make sure that I try to give people an answer on their question, but also what's next? What's next? What's next? How do you move forward? How do you progress? How do you go and make sure that you always move forward? Because every step of the way you will get stuck. That is what progress is. You're supposed to get stuck. You're supposed to be looking for answers. You're supposed to find it pushing a little bit. That is how you expand. That is how you grow. If you do not feel the push or the challenge or that kind of thing, you're not growing, you're stagnating. Like I said, the influencer strategy is about being the best of the best. You cannot implement that strategy and expect employers to chase you or get to you unless you're the best of the best. So, being the best of the best is the right employers need to find them, the right profile, the value profile, the right message enriching them. And if you do that, you will get shoulder tap. You will attract the opportunities. You do not need to go and apply online. There's also a link in there to go to stories of others who've done this and they have found this, they have achieved this, and they still do. Because, like I say, that profile goes on to work for you in the future. It just keeps on giving. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Okay, Mike, you've raised your hand. Perfect.
Yes,
Go
Zerozy,
for it.
I think a question or something that a lot of people would be sitting with, and to an extent, myself included, is what is my niche, right? And I think a lot of people we just start working and we just get a job and like, but maybe I'm not sure like if you could answer this concisely right now, but maybe it would be a future like session idea. But maybe you could just share very briefly, like out of your own experience, how did you go about finding your niche, or what does that look like? How does that journey look like?
Certainly. Thank you for that question. Very, very relevant question. I'm actually in the process of building a whole course about how to find your niche. So it's going to take a while because I've had this question before. In one of the programs, I go through this a little bit, but here are a couple of things that will help you identify your niche. Number one, what are you good at? It's so simple. Now, I know this sounds simple, but it's sometimes challenging for people to think about what they're good at. Okay. So let's turn this around 180 degrees. What do other people tell you you're good at? Um, how have people praised you in the past at work or even privately, right? When I when I started my business, I was good at HR things, if you can say it that way. I was an HR analyst. I worked with spreadsheets and Excel and implementing softwares and things like that. But privately, I was good at helping people figure out things in terms of, in brackets, coaching. I didn't know that. I had no idea until people told me that at work and privately. But you're so good at help people figuring out who they are, what they're supposed to do. And people started telling me that, and it made me think about, oh, I'm actually good at this. That's number one. So what are you good at? What do people tell you you're good at? So if you can think about this as the first circle. Number two, what do you enjoy? Now, this is incredibly important. Like I said just earlier, you've got to grow and expand the whole time. And that feels like pushing the boundaries, pushing, progress. Progress is difficult. It is expansion. If you are not enjoying what you're doing while you're doing this, you're not going to do it. Okay? So make sure that what you're good at and what you're trying to find to be your niche, you also enjoy doing. How do you know that? What goes on in your head all the time? Literally get it out of your head, write it down. What do you love doing? I love seeing people progress. I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people go, aha. I love seeing people come to life on LinkedIn. Now, this sounds very cheesy, but for instance, Sarah, when he first came to me, he had a mediocre LinkedIn profile. When I spoke to him on a one-on-one session, I'm like, whoa, this person is a rock star in terms of what he can do and what he knows and how what his niche is. All I needed to do was tell him that, planted the seed, and then give him some direction about what you need to do next to bloom, to flourish, to expand, to show what you are good at, and also to enjoy it. So all of us already have it. It's not something outside you that you're going to find. Your niche is not out there. You know, you don't go and find your niche. It's here. It's inside. It's something. It is your purpose. It is what you were put here to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here alive. Now, this sounds a little bit metaphysical, but it's true. Once you find that sweet spot between these two circles, you know you found your niche. There's a third circle here, okay? And this is what do people want? What do your employers want? What do your clients want? If you're going into consulting or building a business here, that third circle is your content and what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what your employers or your clients want to hear, and the place where all of this come together. So these three things take different pieces of work, but once you find it, the lights go on. Okay. How I found my niche is I got told what I was good at and I listened. I had to listen for a long, long time. The universe was whispering in my ear and I didn't listen, but I finally listened. And then stepping over that threshold into, I'm going to do this. Whew, that was the difficult part. That was the hard part. Then finding in terms of how I enjoyed it, the things that I do in this that I enjoy the most and doing that the most. Yes, there are things that I do not enjoy, but I focus on the things that I do enjoy and do them the most so that I get the most enjoyment out of my niche. Make sense? This is what I do enjoy most. Then the third part was now, who are my ideal employers? What are going to resonate with them? Research. I had to put my stuff out there and see what comes back. I wrote articles for about 6 or 8 months. I wrote about 70 articles about immigration, job finding. It's all on LinkedIn. You can go and read them if you want. It's really old. I think I sent you one the other day. And the things that resonated, I'm like, what? These these extract my ideal employers out of the waivers. Not my ideal employees, my ideal clients. But these let them come out of the bush so I could see them and I could hear what they wanted and I could see what resonated with them and then I make more content like that. So, what are you good at? What do you get told you're good at? What do you enjoy doing? And what does your audience want? When those three things come together, that's your niche. Does it answer your question? Let me know. Oh,
Yes,
okay,
yes, it
cool.
does. It does actually, and no, in my case, it'd definitely be teaching. I love teaching people, and historically have always told me, Mike, but you communicate concepts so well, like I can understand things so
You
quickly,
do.
and I think it's also I love learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the other side of it is not only because I've only recently really started to understand what that looks like for me, but I think there's another part which you also bring, Rosie, and that is um, the execution part. It's like the mindset and the confidence to step into this new realm, right? Because oftentimes we feel comfortable where we are because it is familiar, not because it's good for us, but because it's familiar. And making that step into something completely unknown, something new, and still we know it's the right thing, we know it's the good thing for us, but it requires a little bit of a nudge, right? Yeah.
It does. In the last couple of weeks, I've done a lot of work in reading and training and mindset training around that stepping over the threshold. We call it the threshold wound. I don't know if you've heard that concept before, but psychology, we call it the threshold wound. The threshold wound is, how can I explain it in layman's terms? It is that place which keeps you from doing what you want to do. You know what you need to do. You know what you want to do. It's all clear, but you something keeps you back from making that step. That something is what we call the threshold wound. The threshold wound is there because you got wounded, you got hurt by a previous experience, right? You exposed yourself is not a good way to say it, but you went out there, you did something, and it wasn't a good experience. Someone criticized you, someone put you down, or it failed, or it was mediocre, and you didn't have a good experience. So, in your reptilian brain and in your body, that hurt. Um, and you experience, maybe bad emotions or a loss of some kind. So you were wounded. So now you've got to do that again, but your body remembers it. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm not going to do this because it hurt. It's going to hurt. Doesn't mean it's going to hurt, but you experiencing it already before it actually does. Make sense? So that's the threshold wound. To step through it again and step over it again is so, so difficult. I remember when I started this business, that's why I'm saying I wrote articles because my mentor said to me, you've got to make videos. I'm like, wow, no, ever. Never in my life will I ever make videos. Look where we are today, 1,000 videos later. Okay, literally 1,000 videos later. I started counting them the other day and I got to 896 or something. And that was like 6 months ago. So it might be close to 1,000 by now. But if you look at the first couple of videos, I cringe. But look where I've come. So that threshold wound is way over there in the past for me, but there's other things now that I need to get over. That's expansion. Is always a threshold. It's always going to be that push and that difficult part. When you step into it, when you step out of it, like you said, we collapse time. We collapse the expansion. You think that's going to happen in 2 years or 3 years, instantly happens in 3 weeks or 3 days. Because we step over the things that is in our minds, the obstacles, but actually is not true. And those obstacles in your mind create this idea of it's too far away, it's too hard, it's too difficult. When you step over the threshold, it suddenly comes closer and things happen. But that threshold is in the wound that it represents in terms of your previous experiences, and you might not even be aware of this in your subconscious. Remember, that wound sits in your subconscious. It's not very clear to most people. You've got to do a little bit of work there. When you step over that, that's where the next expansion happens. But there's going to be another threshold in the future. Yes, it is difficult. That is what I enjoy the most, is to see people step over it and go out there. I have had probably about 10% of the Elite Career Mentor one-on-one candidates that I've asked to do resume videos did. And then they blow. Not because that video goes viral or whatever, but that person literally, they come to life. They would come off a video that they put out there and they were like, I feel so invigorated and I feel like I've just expanded time and expanded myself because you stepped over the threshold. You put yourself out there and you were waiting for the hits to come and nothing happened. And you realized, I'm safe. I'm good. I'm cool. Everything's fine. And I've actually expanded my world and I've reached 30,000 people. Or I've had Davide. I don't know if you've seen his video. The moment he did that, it just made him come to life, and he's just, expanded himself out there and put his profile into the world. That's what I enjoy seeing happen, and that is my specialization. And what I enjoy about doing things is, and if I can do it for one person, that's my reward. For someone else, it's completely different. But once you reach that stage, you've reached your niche. I want to say something else about a niche. I've heard this and I almost believed it. Someone saying your niche is too small. BS. Nonsense. No such thing. If your niche or your calling or your purpose is been in your head, in that little universe thingy that scratches behind your head going, you need to go do this, you need to go do this. If that's been given to you, your audience already exists. What I'm going to say, right? Not too small. It's there. You need to serve them. So you, Mike, you can communicate, not just communicate, you can personify, you can contribute so well. You can explain, you can, it's not just about communicating or explaining, you can do, if that's a better word for it, what you do so well. All you need to do is step out from behind a photo or a CV or a thing and go do it. Just go do it. Find the first place where you can do that thing. My first place was writing an article, literally a small 500-word article, and then 50, and then 70, and then starting videos, and then boom. Find that first little step over the threshold and just do. Okay? And it will grow from there because then you're going to be led. You don't have to push anymore. You will see that the pushing becomes so much easier if you listen to what you're supposed to do. Make sense? So just go do. Yeah. I'm really excited to be working with people doing this. So if you're out there and you want me to help you with this, hit me up on LinkedIn, like I said, or go into one of those links that's below this video if you're watching this on YouTube, and let's get started. Any more questions, Mike? I see you're the only one live here today.
No, that's very good. Thank you, Sarazi.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's me for today. Like I say, if you want to know more, I'm on LinkedIn. I am on in those links. You'll find me. Book a call with me if you want to come through and sit with me in a strategy session, and let's get started through the one-on-one program. Or you can go straight into the job set for $25 program. $25 a month. There's also yearly and I think 3 months, 6 months, and annual plans with a massive discount if you purchase ahead. And you can just go into those courses and depth and learn these tactics and strategies and techniques. And also, I think most valuable is get 2 live calls with me like this, where you can come on and ask your questions, every single one, plus a community of other people like Mike and the others out there who will also help you along the way. That was me for today. Take care out there, and I'll see you in the next live one. Bye.